See, madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
Welcome everyone to my humble abode. Grab a drink, make sure it's cold. We're talking about anime, new and old. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my anime lounge. I finally did it. I know, I'm late to the party, but I am here to say I have finally finished watching Attack on Titan. I have so many things I want to talk about with this masterpiece, so I won't keep you all waiting. Welcome back to the lounge, and if it's your first time, welcome. While grabbing yourself a seat, please do me a favor and hit that like button.
Push the goddamn button! Push the goddamn button!
If you're new and find yourself enjoying the video, hit that subscribe button, join the lounge, and enjoy talking anime with fellow watchers. Hit that bell for notifications so you know when the lounge is going to be open again. There's a seat for you. Join us, chill with us, laugh with us. By the way, I'm going to be talking about spoilers and stuff, so here's your warning. If you haven't finished the show or seen it, this isn't a review, it's just me yapping about some stuff I noted. Now let's get into it. Erwin and Levi have to easily be the most built different folk in this show. A different breed. While actively having his arm being eaten off by a titan, dragging him off, he yells, he didn't say ouch. He didn't even let out a curse word like, ah, fuck. He only looked forward. He even showed up not too long after with one arm still determined to complete this mission. I was so hyped. Like, he lives for this shit. When I saw that, I said, this man is different. He thrives in hell. And then to have the, for lack of a better term, the audacity to do what ultimately got him labeled as a devil. He became what nobody else was willing to become. To do the things nobody else would do. You really gonna do this mission and get everybody killed just to maybe learn something about these creatures? And he'll look you dead in your eyes and say,
I absolutely have to.
He already feels like, due to his decisions, he's constantly standing on a pile of his friends' bodies who died for this mission for answers. There is no going back. He refuses to have had them die for nothing, which is how the people in the interior tend to view these missions outside of the walls. Trying to learn the truth of the Titans and what's really outside, and any clues that could lead to humanity's salvation from this hell. His determination to learn the truth, even Levi was getting upset with. He said, we're gonna run out of soldiers before you learn this truth that you're searching for. But there was no other way. Sacrifices will be necessary, and he is not above putting himself on the chopping block. In his last mission, he literally led his remaining troops into death just to give Levi the opportunity to take down the Beast Titan, which leads us to Levi. How the fuck do you go 4-0 against the Beast Titan? This man went undefeated, soloing a whole Titan. Even other Titans were struggling to fight the Beast Titan. Didn't the Beast Titan whoop Reiner? Like, they had a duel and he beat up Reiner? Like, he left that dude, he left the Armor Titan leaking. Now granted, the fight on the Marley Island was a ploy and they were acting. And the final showdown with the founding Titan, he wanted Levi to finally kill him. But that first time, boy, Levi whooped his ass. He beat him so bad, boy, he had a flashback to Reiner giving him a warning like, hey, forget about everybody else. The one person you really have to worry about is this guy named Levi. Erwin gave Levi that command to take down the Beast Titan, and he activated like the Winter Soldier. Like, this was David versus Goliath reversed. And the second time when Zeke tried to run away in the forest and Levi turned that bitch into a horror movie, Zeke thought that by turning all of Levi's comrades into Titans, that would stop him, because he thought he wouldn't kill his friends who turned into Titans.
Somebody done told him wrong.
That boy showed up covered in the blood of his allies, chasing them down. He had Titans running away from him.
I'm cold as a lion with no hair. If you ever see me fighting in the forest with a grizzly bear, help the bear!
And on top of that, Levi was right next to a thunder spear. I think that's what it was, thunder pike, a thunder spear. Explode.
Boom! Explosion happened. Blood and guts and spit and ass was everywhere.
And he was slashing down Titans a few days later with 2 fingers. Now, granted, he's an Ackerman and they have enhanced physical capabilities. What did I just say? Capabilities. They have enhanced physical capabilities. I don't care. He must have been the Ackerman. These men were built differentially. I'll say it. I couldn't stand her. I absolutely hated Gabi. And the best part about it, I was supposed to. We went through all of these seasons and traumatic experiences with Erwin and the squad. So of course, when you introduce kids who are constantly calling them devils and want them all dead, it's gonna get the appropriate response. But in all seriousness, Gabi was the catalyst of teaching the audience how the world viewed the Eldians trapped on that island. They were taught that Eldians with the power of the Titans were evil devils that terrorized and killed and conquered all over the world. Gabi and her generation are soldiers trained to think that Erwin and everybody else on that island are villains. Everything comes to a head when Erwin launches his attack on Marley Island, but prior to the attack, he tells Reiner that he's just like him, a naive young child who thinks he's doing what's best to save the world. When Reiner and Bertolt destroyed the walls in the beginning, they were doing so under the pretense that they were going to save the world by obtaining the founding Titan. Fast forward, now Erwin, in a sense, is destroying the walls of Marley when he launches his own attack, believing that he is saving his people from this enemy, leading to the ultimate role reversal moment. Gabi, just like Erwin was when he was younger, is looking up in horror as a Titan is destroying her home and killing her friends and family, just as Erwin was looking up in horror as Titans were destroying his friends and family. The parallels were crazy. I couldn't stand Gabi, but I knew that all she was taught was that Eldians were devils, and next thing you know, a Titan shows up and kills all her friends. Now, she sets out on a vendetta that results in her killing Sasha, which made me want to jump through my fucking screen. Bro, when that happened, I was literally screaming for them to stomp her out and toss her little ass out that airship. I wanted her gone, folk. I hated her. But then she eventually learns the truth about the island and that everything that they lost on that island, their friends, their family, their homes, and the attack on Marley is the direct result of the hatred that she was being taught. She even understands why Erwin wants to do what he's doing. Even she was like, you don't have to kill the whole world. Couldn't you just like destroy a few military bases? And then she had an arc with the little girl that Sasha saved, finding out that she was the one who killed Sasha.
Son of a bitch! It's a travesty! I will kill you! Get him out of here! Get him out of here!
This shit was excellent all around.
Juice.
Who the f*** you think you talking to?
Alright, it's time for an anime recommendation break. It's a spot in the video where I throw out a random show I've seen that I would recommend people to check out if it sounds appealing to them. And so this anime recommendation break is brought to you by Demon Lord 2099.
In a world where a demon lord reawakens in a high-tech futuristic world with the threat of becoming an old relic looming above his head, meet our main character, Demon Lord Velto.
生の苦しみ味わってる魔王ベルトール・ベルベット・ベール・シュバルトすなわち世である
You see, he used to reign over a nation as the leader of an immortal race. But after being defeated by the hero, he has reawakened in a future where his magic is no longer supreme.
Oh, Jesus! Basha, can you hear me?
And his former race has been hunted near extinction. And he has to find out what has happened to his former world and find his surviving comrades. But first, he has to get his powers back by amassing a huge amount of devoted followers the only way he can in this day and age. By becoming a streamer. That's right, folks, the first ever Demon Lord streamer. I think he's here to play games and whoop ass, and for your sake, you better hope he's too busy streaming. This one was a lot of fun. Veltol was a really cool and funny character. He has the personality that would actually thrive in the streaming space today, and he managed to sprinkle in some good action in between the unorthodox plot of a Demon Lord streamer. A very good watch. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. Now, in a tragic tale such as this one, this show is just full of heartbreaking, misty-eyed, saddening, depressing moments. But there were two moments during my watch that I actually had tears coming from my eyes, and they're kind of correlated. The first one being Hanji's death. Oh my God. And it wasn't the death itself that got me. Well, it kind of was. It's how they showed her transition. The rumbling was going on and they needed time to get the flying boat plane working. So she decided to sacrifice herself to buy them more time. But she was so excited, flying straight into her final fight, to the point where she literally went out in a blaze of glory. But it was the next part that fucked me up. They showed her laying in the footprint. She gets up, and then you see Erwin, Moblet, and all her friends who passed on.
飛び立ったよ。ハンジ、お前は役目を果たした。
I had to pause the show right here. I ain't cried watching the anime since Assassination Classroom Season 2. That fucked me up so bad because because I watched all of these people die fighting for this mission, and she can finally rest knowing that she's done her part. This didn't just get me teary-eyed. I actually cried, bruh.
Oh yeah. Bruh, man, cry.
And then the second time was Levi finally breaking down in tears after they take down Eren. He had to watch all of his allies die for this very day. And now he is just sitting there with the mission complete, staring at everyone who passed on to make this happen, finally able to keep his final promise to Erwin. He gives the salute, and I'm pretty sure for the first time in the show, he started crying. And that shit got me too. They hit me with a 1-2 punch to the gut within like 2 hours. So I have two favorite reveals in the entire show. My first one is Reiner telling Eren the truth about him and Bertolt. The irony is that this reveal is shocking to me because I knew the identity of the Titans before watching it. You know, everyone was talking about the show and you couldn't avoid it, how popular it was. And so I assumed that that was just spoiled for me and the show was going to play out as them trying to find out the identities of the other Titans. It was going to be some Titan mystery. Oh, who's the armored Titan? Well, obviously I was fucking wrong. The way Reiner nonchalantly just announced that he was the armored Titan and Bertolt was the colossal Titan had me rolling. I feel like I'm saying his name wrong too. I'm gonna just call him Bert. I thought this shit was a joke. No way they just revealed that to us like that. Everybody kept walking. I'm like, y'all didn't hear that? He straight threw Bert under the bus too. He wasn't planning on telling anyone shit.
何を言っているんだライナー
俺たちの目的はだがそうする必要はなくなった
You shut up!
And I was wondering who the colossal titan was going to end up being. I thought I would have to wait way later. And I think Eren was so thrown off because to have your mans come to you and be like, yeah, you remember that disastrous attack 5 or so years ago where your mama got ate in front of you and damn near everybody in this part of the interior died? Yeah, that was spearheaded by us. Our goal was to wipe out humanity, which at the time, of course, they all believed was only within the walls. So you would expect him at first to have a moment like Tony and Cap in Civil War, when he found out Bucky bucked his parents. But Eren was in such disbelief. He looked at him like,
Right.
because there is no way what you're telling me right now is true. It can't be. And of course, this led to that UFC match between the Armored Titan and Eren, which went crazy. Eren had that man in a headlock. He was about to get the tap out victory, but then my second favorite reveal was at the end when we learned that all of these events were influenced by future Eren. At least I believe that's what they were insinuating when finding out that his Titan can see into the future. And so he saw what he would end up doing and everything that would need to happen leading up to the rumbling. Now, if I am misinterpreting this, I apologize. But I think what hits it home for me was when Eren was talking to Armin and he says,
あの日あの時ベルトルトはまだ死ぬべきじゃなかっただから見逃して朝に向かわせたの
And then you realize that the dream that he had in the very first episode were the events that would play out by his hand. He was seeing the future, which is why he was crying, but he didn't know why he was crying. That's my theory, at least. But finding out that Eren was attempting to play out so many scenarios and seeing what the end would ultimately have to be was insane. And finding out that he was telling everyone what was going to happen and erasing their memory until he was gone, man, which leads us into oh yeah, the $1 million question. Was Eren right? I tell you what, he had a solution. He may not have been completely right, but he had a motherfucking solution. And I love that about his character. I love that it was just easy to say Eren was wrong. But then when people got the question turned back on them like, well, what should we do? They don't know. They just don't want Eren to do what he's gonna do. Of course, wiping out 80% of the world's population through genocide via thick stompers was not the right call. But here's the beauty of the writing in this show. I didn't think it should have happened, but I understand. It got to a point where it was either them or the Eldians, and Eren chose to protect his people to the best of his abilities. He made a promise to get rid of every Titan and even attempted to paint the Eldians in a new light by having them be the ones to stop him and becoming the heroes of the world. We got to the right destination, but it was a rocky journey. Not everyone outside the walls was an enemy, but everyone was taught that the Eldians were the enemy. I can't say what I would have done instead. The idea of using the rumbling as a scare tactic was only a temporary band-aid, and Eren knew this. The existence of the Eldians in general presents a problem because of one thing that's the epicenter of all major conflicts: power. The Titan power, as soon as it came into existence, created this issue. Even if you're sitting on an island, not bothering any other parts of the world, just the idea that at any moment you could call upon millions of Titans and just trample the world out of existence, somebody is going to do something to prevent you from having that power, whether it's by taking it and controlling it for themselves or just wiping out the catalyst for the power entirely, resulting in the oppression that the Eldens face. They were never going to know peace as long as the concept of Titan power existed. Realistically, the only viable solution was to find a way to erase the power of Titans, but that can't erase the history. So, after enduring hell and understanding that his people were tossed away and are doomed in an eternal cycle of conflict, Eren decides to create new history. Damn. An unprecedented event that no one would ever forget. All my life, I thought that nothing existed outside of these walls. I believed we only lived to eventually be cannibalized by our own people, who we found out were forcibly dragged into this hellhole and turned into beasts, the very things that crafted the nightmarish history that made us a threat. Then I learned that there's civilization outside of these walls, living lavish, eating ice cream, while we were forced to taste the blood of our friends, dying to the very product of the world's hatred for us. Generation after generation, we were treated like trash, slaves, experiments. You needed that power you feared so much. You thrived on our pain and applauded our demise. You all prayed for our extinction. And now that power that I had to watch my family and friends get slaughtered for is mine. And now I carry the will of all those you've taken from us. I carry the hatred. And now it is time for you to experience hell. You goddamn right, I'm doing the rumbling. No, that's all for dramatics. I wouldn't really do that. I don't know. Maybe just that island would have had to go, like Marley Island. Somebody gonna see these Titans. Somebody gonna see these Titans. This show was fucking amazing. And in the end, there's honestly no true solution to conflict. It's never ending. It will always exist. They even show you at the end, even after everything that Eren did, wars on the island still continued. I completely understand his urge to just level everything. I don't condone the global genocide, but I understand. A lot of us will be ready to tear down a building if somebody slapped a plate of food out of hand. And Zeke's plan, although less violent, was no better. You basically told your whole race they shouldn't have been born and don't deserve to exist. Another funny aspect I wanted to mention really quick though was Flock. I think his name was Flock. Bro, as soon as they brought guns to the island, he straight up turned into Bishop from Juice. He was just letting that tool ring on everybody. I'm also glad that I waited to watch it because I remember when the final season was like split up into 4 parts and they were like 2 years or a year apart. I know the fans was suffering through that wait, but I got to binge it in all its splendid glory. But that's enough of my yapping. I appreciate you all for watching and joining the lounge. Now it's your turn. What were your favorite reveals? Moments that made you cry? Was Eren right? What would you have done? Let me know down in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Join the lounge and grab yourself a seat. Share with your friends or anyone who loves anime like us.
Tell your friends about me.
I appreciate you all for watching. And as we always do when we close out, let's all raise a glass in the air. Here's to anime.